are other statements, but the one that I can think of, Constable Zongo, because he even identifies them in his statements that this is the person that is referring to in terms of the pictures. So identify a picture of accused 3 and referred him as, I think, the surname Buthelezi, and I can go to his statement. So I'm saying there was no dispute as to say the name, even though there's a Buthelezi surname, but the person that is being referred to is Mr. Mncube, who is accused number 3.
Now, one of the reasons that you also mentioned was the issue of DNA evidence, and you read the report in respect of the people that were in the house. You remember that?
I do remember that, my lord.
And that report excluded the house as donors of certain areas that were swapped. Remember?
I do remember that, my lord.
What about the accused persons before court, from accused 1 to 5? Does DNA link them to the 26th of October 2014?
My lord,
according to the report of...
yes, I'm going there.
Yes.
I'm going there. I'm just trying to find the right words, my lord, because when I tried to venture into this aspect during the evidence in chief, it was greatly objected by accused by Mr. Mnisi, because I was actually going to accuse 3. So I'm trying to find the ways as to how should I actually answer the question, because my answer will be saying the report, my recollection of the report made by the police, the captain who made the report, who's an expert, excluded, at the end of the day, he says he's excluding all of the accused. However, my lord, because, and this is the part that I'm saying, when you read the report, you must read it in its entire context. You can't just select the last portion and ignore the person, what he's saying above. Somewhere above, he links some of the accused in terms of what he can read. The only difficulty is that he could not find all the markers, all the certain markers to make a conclusive finding. So I was dealing with it in that context, but as I said, it didn't sit well with Mr. Menisi and I think Mr. Mshololo in terms of my expertise, but my reliance really was what is contained on the report. So I'm not sure whether you want me to take it further on this.
Kumasilwe says Gininda, because I am going to be on Umnisi's case. I tried to answer this. Now you're asking me, Ramosepele, what do you want me to do? Because Umnisi and they were butting heads, okay? As he says, Umnisi did not want me to venture into this. Do you see, Umnisi? I tried to highlight him that he is just in shock the entire time, okay? He's laughing away, and for the first time, cameraman gets a standing ovation, because what do you mean you showed us Mnisi face up, close up? Thank you, cameraman. Finally, for once, okay, you're following the storyline, and only to find Mnisi is laughing away. Mnisi can't even believe it, but I commend Mnisi, okay, because he didn't even bother to stand up to acknowledge him or object. He's like, whatever, man. At this point, I am going to cross-examine you, and, the line has been drawn in the sand. Don't cross it. Wow. With regards to the DNA, Gininda is a stubborn man, right? He's a very stubborn man. That's all I'm going to say. He already said a mouthful, whatever. Everything he said, okay, he's not going to accept defeat, this man. Let's continue on and hear what other gibberish he adds to the answer.
And I was saying this, my lord, in the sense that, for example, when you are looking at the investigation, if, for example, we know even the fingerprints, you need to get a certain regions of it, to make a conclusive finding. But if you have an individual where the expert says, I can only get 4, but that 4 can be read into the suspect or the person that you're looking at. In the purpose of the investigation, you cannot ignore that person because you've got guidance, but it does not mean you are making a conclusive findings of the fingerprints. Same with the DNA. There are, for example, accused number 5 is completely excluded, complete in my recollection of what that report says. But it says certain things that the examiner find with regard to other accused, and that's where I was at, my note. And I think it's the same position with accused number 1, my lord, that in my recollection, the report did not find any, even if it's not complete markers, any with regard to accused 1. And that, my lord, it's in support of the investigation, because the investigation indicates that accused 5 was outside. He was the driver of the vehicle, and I'm saying it's alleged in terms of the investigation. And accused 1 was standing outside, so he could have not left anything. It doesn't matter how small or big, anything, because there would have been a contradiction. So there is a collaboration in that sense. But as I said, the markers and the issues that the two advocates had a concern about is what I wanted to go into, but it wasn't sitting well with the defense. Yes, my lord.
Brigadier, the bottom line is that the DNA expert that came here excluded all 5 accused persons, because there is a certain minimum and maximum that you must meet for you to include persons as donors of a DNA sample. So all 5 of them were excluded, and it's not up to you to interpret that evidence. He spoke, he testified at length, going through each and every single marker where there were points of commonality, differences, but the bottom line remains. He excluded all 5 accused persons before court.
There we go. Advocate Ramosepele is dropping bombs in Judge Reto's courtroom. And I have put all this text for emphasis, just in case Brigadier Gininda watches this, and then he can pay attention that all 5 were excluded, okay? And then Rams goes ahead and said, it is not up to you to interpret that evidence. The expert has already said what he said, and I said what I said. Oh my goodness, Ramosepele will shock you, okay? He will shock you. 1 minute he's Mr. Nice Guy, 1 minute he's polite, 1 minute he's saying, hey, I'm asking you all these questions, it's just for clarification, it's not questions from my client, and it's neither is my client admitting being there, this is just me. And then a whole bomb dropped in the courthouse. When will Gininda understand DNA? Like, you would think it's the bare minimum that a policeman would understand. Now I want to go back to his evidence in chief and listen to his qualifications. There's got to be a part where they give him DNA 101 training. Somebody tell me that exists in the police services, please. Oh my God, let's continue on.
My lord, that's not how I understand investigation is done. And like I said, that's why I left this part, and I think the state advocate also, we moved away from that part, but now I'm being asked a question about it. That's not how I understand the investigation is being done. If a person, my lord, I'll make an example, make a statement to say I was robbed by this and this person, and at the end of the day, he gives you the context where he was, what was taken, whether it was male, black or white or colored, but at the end of the statement he says, I cannot identify those people. That doesn't mean a crime didn't take place, and that does not mean because he says I can't identify the perpetrators, you must now leave, forget everything that has been mentioned above. That's not how you do investigation. There are certain pointers, and if those pointers, no matter how small they are, points to some of the accused, it becomes collaboration evidence. I'm not saying it's a fact, because you are not an expert, but it's a pointer. It's the same, for example, with what is contained in Mr. Ramosepele's client's confession. When he says, I was with accused 1, 3, 4, and 5. It's what he says. It's not a fact. We needed collaboration evidence to prove indeed that there was such, my lord. So it's the first part. It must be corroborated for a conclusive finding to be made at the end. And this assertion, my lord, does not mean I'm saying the statement links them. That should not be misunderstood. I'm not saying the expert says their DNA is conclusively found. I was basically referring to what efforts or steps I took in my investigations, what guided me.
And like Advocate Munisi correctly said when he stood up on this point, it is not your opinion, Kenneth. It's the opinion of the DNA expert on this point.
My lord, I think we are on the same page and we're saying the same thing. As said, I am making this submission does not mean I'm saying the expert was wrong in saying what he said. I agree with his conclusion. I'm simply saying above, if you look above what is contained there, what it says. That's number one. But number two, I do recall, my lord, that DNA, it's a mixed DNA. The donor of the second DNA was never found, which is a female, to make a conclusive finding. That's what I seem to recall during my interaction with the expert, or our interaction. But there is no dispute, and such must not be created, my lord, as if I'm standing here contradicting the expert to say he is wrong. I understand the report that is written there, and I agree with it, but I'm simply saying on top he indicates certain markers that were not good enough for him to make a conclusive finding. So it's not, in essence, my lord, a complete exclusion. That's what I'm saying. It's where somebody says, I've read this, 0. I've read this, 0. There are certain markers, but unfortunately they were not enough for the expert to make a conclusive finding, my lord. So there's no conflict or difference of opinions insofar as what the expert is saying, my lord, and what I'm saying. But basically, and I'm not contradicting him or disagreeing with him.
Okay. And then you also referred to the AVL report for the motor vehicle driven by Longwe Twala.
Yes, the track. I think it's a track.
I am very, 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 very happy with this segment to hear the Honorable Brigadier Gininda backtracking, okay, eating his words and telling us that, no, I didn't disagree. I didn't disagree. I don't know why everyone is now calling me Mr. 2%. And today I'm not even going to talk about 2%. I'm just going to let you know that there were no links because accused number 1 was outside. How are you guys expecting his DNA to be inside the house when he was outside? Accused number 5 was in the car. He never went in the house. Why are you guys doing this to me? Why did you guys do this to the brigadier? Now he's backtracking. Now he's saying he agrees with everything. But most importantly, did you see Rams did not mince his words, did not stutter, and did not hesitate. And then he pulled a friend and said, as Nisi correctly said, come on now, Ramosepele, it's not your opinion. It is the opinion of the DNA expert. Okay, stick with me, and you'll be fine as a policeman. Let me end it here. I definitely want to hear from you in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the Brigadier, on Rams, and laughing Umnisi over there, Mvula, who said no word when he was mentioned so many times? He said, I mind my business. Because it's going down when it's my turn. I will get you for this, okay? What about the judge is dead silent? The judge had to hold his mouth together because he said, Andisi, I don't want to burst out laughing because those YouTubers, they're onto me. And that is it from me today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on my next upload. You know the house rules. Like, comment, and subscribe. Can we get this video to 1,000 likes, please? And thank you. Catch you on my next upload. Mzansi Unfiltered, checking out. Catch you on my next upload.
My lord, I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
As the court pleases, my lord, I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
If the grooves don't fit, acquit the 5 accused. Nisi has done a fantastic job proving there was no match.